I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. In this lesson, we'll look at how to use reduced your as your in repeated phrases. We'll shadow so you can listen and repeat after me. Use the visual guide to help you. Let's begin. Was that your sister? Stressed your. Was that your sister? Reduced your as your. Was that your brother? Was that your mother? Was that your father? Was that your dad? Was that your uncle? Was that your cousin? Was that your friend? Was that your husband? Was that your wife? Is that your sister? Is that your brother? Is that your mother? Is that your father? Is that your dad? Is that your uncle? Is that your cousin? Is that your friend? Is that your husband? Is that your wife? Did you see your sister? Did you see your brother? Did you see your mother? Did you see your father? Did you see your dad? Did you see your uncle? Did you see your cousin? Did you see your friend? Did you see your husband? Did you see your wife? Where was your sister? Where was your brother? Where was your mother? Where was your father? Where was your dad? Where was your uncle? Where was your cousin? Where was your friend? Where was your husband? Where was your wife? It was your sister. It was your brother. It was your mother. It was your father. It was your dad. It was your uncle. It was your cousin. It was your friend. It was your husband. It was your wife. It wasn't your sister. It wasn't your brother. It wasn't your mother. It wasn't your father. It wasn't your dad. It wasn't your uncle. It wasn't your cousin. It wasn't your friend. It wasn't your husband. It wasn't your wife. It isn't your sister. It isn't your brother. It isn't your mother. It isn't your father. It isn't your dad. It isn't your uncle. It isn't your cousin. It isn't your friend. It isn't your husband. It isn't your wife. It's from your sister. It's from your brother. It's from your mother. It's from your father. It's from your dad. It's from your uncle. It's from your cousin. It's from your friend. It's from your husband. It's from your wife. I didn't know your sister. I didn't know your brother. I didn't know your mother. I didn't know your father. I didn't know your dad. I didn't know your uncle. I didn't know your cousin. I didn't know your friend. I didn't know your husband. I didn't know your wife. I couldn't talk to your sister. I couldn't talk to your brother. I couldn't talk to your mother. I couldn't talk to your father. I couldn't talk to your dad. I couldn't talk to your uncle. I couldn't talk to your cousin. I couldn't talk to your friend. I couldn't talk to your husband. I couldn't talk to your wife. You can also just begin with your and go to the second column. That sounds like your sister, your sister, your brother, your brother, your mother, your mother, your father, your father, your dad, your dad, your uncle, your uncle, your cousin, your cousin, your friend, your friend, your husband, your husband, your wife, your wife. You can also repeat in the third column and change the first column. That sounds like, was that your sister? Is that your sister? Did you see your sister? Where was your sister? It was your sister. It wasn't your sister. It isn't your sister. It's from your sister. I didn't know your sister. I couldn't talk to your sister. Was that your brother? Is that your brother? Did you see your brother? Where was your brother? It was your brother. It wasn't your brother. It isn't your brother. It's from your brother. I didn't know your brother. I couldn't talk to your brother. Was that your mother? Is that your mother? Did you see your mother? Where was your mother? It was your mother. It wasn't your mother. It isn't your mother. It's from your mother. I didn't know your mother. I couldn't talk to your mother. Was that your father? Is that your father? Did you see your father? Where was your father? It was your father. It wasn't your father. It isn't your father. It's from your father. I didn't know your father. I couldn't talk to your father. Was that your dad? Is that your dad? Did you see your dad? Where was your dad? It was your dad. It wasn't your dad. It isn't your dad. It's from your dad. I didn't know your dad. I couldn't talk to your dad. Was that your uncle? Is that your uncle? Did you see your uncle? Where was your uncle? It was your uncle. It wasn't your uncle. It isn't your uncle. It's from your uncle. I didn't know your uncle. I couldn't talk to your uncle. Was that your cousin? Is that your cousin? Did you see your cousin? Where was your cousin? It was your cousin. It wasn't your cousin. It isn't your cousin. It's from your cousin. I didn't know your cousin. I couldn't talk to your cousin. Was that your friend? Is that your friend? Did you see your friend? Where was your friend? It was your friend. It wasn't your friend. It isn't your friend. It's from your friend. I didn't know your friend. I couldn't talk to your friend. Was that your husband? Is that your husband? Did you see your husband? Where was your husband? It was your husband. It wasn't your husband. It isn't your husband. It's from your husband. I didn't know your husband. I couldn't talk to your husband. Was that your wife? Is that your wife? Did you see your wife? Where was your wife? It was your wife. It wasn't your wife. It isn't your wife. It's from your wife. I didn't know your wife. I couldn't talk to your wife. Check out our other lessons for reduced her, their, his, my, and our. You can get the full series in our podcasts. Thanks for practicing with me today. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com.